Hello and welcome. I'm Janine Howard, CEO and founder of Profile Magazine and also Iconic Empires. And today I've got the gorgeous Naomi Findlay with me. Many of you would have seen Naomi. We have featured her in the magazine many times in her element, which is as an interior designer. She's a TV host. But today I really want to have a chat just with you, Naomi, about like who you are in the world, what you're passionate about doing, where you're up to at the moment. But then I want to talk about in business, like you've really created this amazing empire. And I want to talk about some of the times when things go a little bit astray, how you bring them back in, and really some of those tips for women who are trying to build their own empire of how to get there. So first of all, welcome, Naomi.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Janine. It's a big list of things that we're going to talk about today. Oh my gosh. I'll have to prepare myself.
In the back of a car while you're driving.
In the back of a car. I know. I'm not driving though.
No. Well, give us a quick update. Like, why are you in the back of a car?
I'm in the back of a car because I've spent 3 amazing days with 2 of the best business besties you could ever have. So with Denise Duffield-Thomas and Tammy Guest. Many of you would know those guys. So we are 3 extraordinarily different women that support each other endlessly with honesty and love and kindness and ideas and just in any way we need it. So we obviously all have families and we all have quite full, amazing lives. But we do try and get away at least once a year. We're managing once every 12 months where we get to go away and pull things apart if needed, or just review things really, where we're at, what we're doing, where we want to go. So that's why I'm in the back of the car, because we're driving back. We're on our 3rd final leg.
Yeah, awesome. So give our listeners a bit of a snapshot of who you are and what you're doing today.
Cool. Who am I? I am Naomi Findlay, and I am in the design renovation space where my primary focus is all around creating simple, beautiful, healthy spaces and empowering women and men around the country to really get back to the simplicity of being able to create and surround themselves in spaces of beauty.
And you do it so well.
Thank you.
And you've got a few facets to your business. So can you give us a few different...
Yeah, I do have some facets to my business. So under my brand, we teach. So I teach, I create my own TV, I am on mainstream TV, we have courses, we have some product, I speak at events, I work with individual clients to help them create their dream environments or their dream business environments. So yeah, I have quite a few, I guess, elements or strings underneath that brand. And I write books.
And it sounds a lot. So we've only got half an hour at the most here today. So I want to, can you tell people like how you actually manage to have all of these different facets? You still manage to get away and have, your business retreat with your besties and have a family. How do you manage to do all of that?
Oh, great question. It's a question that's come up a little bit these last 3 days. And I think that I have a really supportive team. I have a supportive team. I'm ultra organized, and I also don't believe that I need to do everything. And I also don't view, like, I love what I do. So it's not like doing what I do is a churn. Like, I truly believe that when you, and it was something that I've been talking to these guys about, when you truly get to that point where you love what you do so much that you would literally do it for free. It's not like I'm like, oh, I gotta go write that book, or oh, I've got to go do that design client. Like, I think that there is an effortlessness that brings in a new form of efficiency when you're truly in your zone and doing what you truly love.
And I think that's the $1 million question for most people is like, what do I love doing? What's my purpose? How did you find your purpose?
Do you know what? It evolves. I think that there are some people that maybe are really, really lucky and they hit like the ultimate jackpot of what they want to do straight up. So I think that didn't happen for me, obviously. I knew that I loved design. I knew that I loved property. I knew that I needed to leave medical science. And then I was in that world, which was great, and I loved it. And then I felt that the teaching element was missing because that's certainly part of my personality and my talents. And that ability to empower and corral and like, you can do that and we can do this and of course we can do that. And, you know, I think that was missing. So then that rolled in and it evolved. So I'm probably a perfect example of the evolution of what it is that really is my zone. And it still takes time. Like my business is still very much evolving. But one of the tricks with that, which there may be laughs in the car from behind me now or in front of me, is that as it evolves, being able to let go of some of the other stuff that you've maybe created, because it does evolve. It 100% evolves. And I also think it evolves. It's meant to evolve because you change over time. You know, I've been, you know, in my own business for a decade now. And just like you, Janine, it evolves over time. You know, when my children were really young, it was perfect with what it was then. And then as I grew as a woman and a person and a businesswoman and, you know, my needs to be, you know, to be feel fulfilled changed. And I think it's really important that we always reflect upon what they are and be really open to evolving and changing. I think it's super important.
Yeah, I love that answer because it really takes the pressure off people having to know exactly what it is that I need to be doing. Because I think there's this...
Just start. Like, just start.
Because there can be this perception out there that one day you're walking down the street and there's a light bulb moment, you're like, oh, this is what I'm doing forever. And it doesn't really work like that. I don't know. I don't know who actually had that happen.
No, and it's funny. I was just talking to the girls about that with my son. He's just entered into year 12 now. And that whole notion of, you know, you need to decide now, son, you're only 16, what you're going to do for the rest of your life. And he's like, I don't know, Mum. And it's talking around that concept of, well, you know, because he's like, will I be a trade? Will I go to uni? And I'm like, you can do both. You can do them both at the same time. You can do them after one another. You can evolve. Like, it is all okay. I just feel like sometimes we think that our decisions are so finite and that there can be no evolution and no pivoting and no really uncovering. It's just like, you know what? It is just like great design. It does not just goddamn happen instantly. No. Truly good design for you to live in and love in your home. It happens with layers and with time and with, you know, external input of a designer or an architect. And your businesses evolve with your experiences and with external input and uncovering what you enjoy and what you don't. And so it's exactly the same.
Yeah. And it's so true, isn't it, that you don't know what you love doing or don't love doing in your business until you actually go and do it.
It's so true. The amount of times, especially when I had a bricks and mortar business, I'd be like, oh my gosh, we're going to incorporate a removalist arm and we're going to incorporate a cleaning arm and, oh, we're going to incorporate photography inside our business and we're going to do all this shit. And then I do it and I'm like, I'm never cleaning shit again. Like, you know, and it's okay to, we certainly did that heaps in our bricks and mortar business, hey, where we'd be like, we could be everything to everyone. Yeah. And then we do it for like 6 months and we're like, well, that was bad.
And so do you ever look at that as like, oh my God, we wasted so much time, money, etc., like seeing it as a kind of a failure, or are you able to reframe it?
You know what? It's really interesting because I'm always saying to my students, and it was funny because it came up last night at the event we're at, I'm always saying to my students, there are never losses, there are only lessons. A loss is only a loss when you don't learn from it. And it was funny, it came up at the Marie Forleo event last night that I think hers was, there are never failures, there are only learns. Like, very similar concept. I think anyone that thinks, it's a bit like parenting, anyone that thinks that you're going to have it right and you're going to get it right the first time, it's absolutely rubbish. And I am very much a straight-laced traditional person. So I used to see that every decision I made had to be guaranteed of success. so that I couldn't make a decision in my business unless I knew 100% it was going to work, because failure in any form was not okay. I had to work really hard on my mindset really early in business, that especially if it was public. It would be different if it was private, but I truly believe, you know, I've been brought up extraordinarily traditionally, and, you know, if you're going to paint that color pink, then you better make sure you like it, type of thing. And that's been one of my biggest challenges in business, because I see myself as quite risk adverse in business, which totally stops me trying stuff, because I'm like, if it doesn't fail, if it fails, that's 5 months of my life, and it might be like $4,000 worth of graphics, and the world could end. And so I had to really push myself into catastrophization. And it's something that I work on a lot of the time with some of my students, like, well, let's catastrophize that. Like, what friggin' happens if that happens? And it's like nothing but a really bent pride, generally speaking, but in my circumstances. So it was something I was certainly challenged with. And I still have to work on it. You know, all our barriers don't disappear just when we break through one of them. Those sneaky little bastards re-knit themselves, and they like implant themselves further down the track, just to see if you learnt the lesson the first time. So that doesn't change. And I have you know, had so many lessons in business, who I want to work with, who I don't want to work with. If I was to work with someone, how I want it to happen. You know, how I want to engage with my clients, how I want my clients to see me, how I want my brand to be perceived. Like, none of it was business in a box and everything is perfect. Like, none of it was like that.
Yeah. And I guess too, you know, one of your keys is obviously surrounding yourself by other people, like other women who get you, and that you can actually just lay it out on the table and they can kind of reflect back for you.
Yes.
What are the things in business, like what mindset tools or what, you know, strategies have you got that get you through, because you have ebbed and flowed and evolved? What has got you through to the other side when things start feeling a bit challenging?
You know, for me, it is so important to always know my why. That's one of my biggest things. If I know my why, then I can get through pretty much anything. And I do believe my dad taught me everything in regard to being practical. Actually, my dad and my mum, you know, they taught me how to renovate. Not that he said, let's learn to renovate. I just did stuff with him. My mum taught me how to sew and how to cook and how to crochet and how to knit. And, you know, they were literally like, anything you choose to apply your brain to, you can work it out. But you have to take action and you have to be brave. They're like, you know, that was kind of how I was brought up. I remember the day my mum said to me, you do understand that you can actually achieve anything you choose if you apply your brain and you take some action. Like, I remember it as clear as day. And my dad was a living example of that. And so was my mum. They both were. And so I think for me, I fall back on that I have choice, that I know my why, and that I have a group of people, family and not family. Like, I massively believe in community living, community parenting, community living, and that I have those people around me that, regardless of the choices I make in business, will always love me, and it will all be okay. Like, perspective is so fucking important, Janine. Like, so what if you have a bad launch? So what if no one reads your goddamn blog? Like, you have to have some perspective about what's really happening in life and in the world. And I don't mean that blow away and don't learn from things that don't work well, but in those times where it all really feels like the world is going to end, if you're a mum, you know what? Go smell your child's head. My 16-year-old busts me smelling his head when he's asleep all the time, you know, or think about what it feels like to hold your son's or your daughter's hand as you pick them up from school. Like, it's just so important to not get too caught up in this, what is in our face, crazy, mad ass entrepreneurial world, and reconnect as goddamn humans about what's important. I hope that wasn't a rant. I just feel really passionate about it.
No, I love a rant. Love a rant. And really, you know, it's the thing, it's relationships. At the end of the day, everything's about relationships.
Everything.
Yeah. You know, so
Everything.
you getting a client on into your Reno school, they didn't come on unless they had a relationship with you.
100%, 100%. And it's funny, you know, I often talk to your husband, as you know, and we love Ro, and we'll be having a chat about something, and he's very insightful. He knows generally where I'm at. And often he'll go, you know him obviously extremely well, he'll go, hey babe, you know what? It is you that people love. So I want you to go out. I just want you to be you, and people will love you, and everything will be okay. That is so him, isn't it?
That is so him.
Yeah. And it's such good advice to hold on to. He'll be like, just be you. I love you. Everyone else loves you. Everything's going to be okay. And the people that, you know, it's a line that we started to use heaps, and it's really well known. But we started to use it heaps in our bricks and mortar business. When someone doesn't like you and someone trashes you or doesn't want to be your client or doesn't want to study with you, it's truly, it is not a personal affront to you. It's not them saying, like, it is just their choice. And sometimes we're just not a good fit. We're just not a good fit for each other. And so I think perspective is important in relationships. And you're right, surrounding yourself with people that are okay to call you on stuff, you know, like Denise and Tammy sitting very quietly in the front of the car, you know, they totally call me on stuff all the time. And it's okay, because they call me on stuff coming from a place of kindness and coming from a place of wanting the best for me and coming from a place of wanting to see me enjoy my beautiful life to its full potential.
Because there is potential with your life, with all of the businesses that you do, to be really freaking busy and to be overworked, isn't there? And not really get connected.
100%. And there's also, when you're in that really friggin' busy stage, you know, with your very full calendar, there is the opportunity to, and I'm absolutely 100% this person, because as I'm often reminded, I can pretty much do everything. And I could like create another 5 businesses and I'd still be able to fit it all in, but it doesn't mean I should. And so there, you know, there is very much with business, I find the risk that if you don't stop and you don't have people around you or you don't have processes around you to really go, cool, I just want to recheck in. It's that whole sailing boat analogy, or that flying from New York to Sydney. You know, you might only be like half a degree off course of where, or you might halfway here from New York get half a degree off course, but over a year that lands that you actually landed in Darwin. And so I think that can totally happen in business, that you can be so busy in the doing that you, it's really important to have people around you and to have processes and time set aside around you to go, you know, what is it that you really love? And what is it that you then, you know, then how do you want to make money out of that? Because you can sometimes wake up and go, oh shit, how did I get here? I did that in my bricks and mortar business. I was 8 years in, multiple 7-figure business. It was booming, amazing brand. I woke up one day and went, this wasn't what I planned. This isn't what I want, you know, now in my business. So let's sell that shit and move on. So, you know, I think that is, it's so important.
And see, from external, when you had your bricks and mortar business, you were seen to be very successful. And I think at the time, a lot of people were quite surprised that why would you move off this business?
Yeah,
but it was
money. And you know what? It was great money, but money can trap you if you, it doesn't, just because something pays really well, doesn't mean you have to do it. And just because you've been really successful at it, doesn't mean that you can't pass all that on to someone else who can be really successful at it. Because I'm, you know, I want to live life well, Janine. I want to live my life well. I want to have the days where I'm like, wow, I had the most amazing 3 days with my friends. Could I have like stayed and kept my bricks and mortar business working like a mofo and go, guys, could we catch up for half an hour on the phone instead? Or can I choose that whatever I choose to do, whether it's being present with my kids, whether it's being present on a phone call with you or with your husband, or whether it's, you know, when we're about to stop for lunch soon and have a beautiful lunch together, like instead of seeing how much we can do, like, let's just focus on doing stuff well and actually wanting to do it. Let's just want to do stuff, not just do stuff because it pays well.
I love that. And I find too, when you get into that, everything starts flowing.
Yeah, it is true. But you know what? Even I find that I don't want anyone to think that all of a sudden when you're doing something you love, all of a sudden you go, oh wow, there's just so much money here. Like, you still have to graft. Yeah. You don't have to graft, but you have to take action.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean that you have to work like a mofo and that to earn money it's going to be outrageously hard. But it, you know, when you're doing something that you love, generally things fall into place in a much better way than when you're kind of pulling yourself through a hedge backwards.
Yeah, great analogy. I love it. You know,
you can always count on down to earth ones from me, Janine.
Well, that's why I've got you on today. Exactly. You know, I really think it's important that we talk mainly to women, but I think it's so important that women understand that business isn't this holy grail thing, that when you start your own business, that life becomes magically wonderful in all aspects.
No.
Opposite, that it's like really hard, but it's a constant, isn't it? It's a constant focus, attention, moving forward, but also at the same time, it's a constant having perspective.
100%. 100%. You always have to. I used to say when, you know, as you would know, because Ro was in the building trade, when people wanted you to do something cheaper, like in my bricks and mortar business, someone would go, oh, can you sharpen the pencil on that? And, you know, my check would be, well, you know, if I'm going to be working for free or working for such a little amount of money, I'll actually just drink $5 champagne on the grass in the backyard with my children. Like, it's about always keeping perspective about what it is that you actually want in your life.
Yeah. I love that. I don't mind $5 champagne.
In the backyard, with the chickens.
With the chickens, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, thanks for keeping it real today, Naomi. And, you know, even
pleasure.
The setting, your conversation, I love it because we need a slap of realness in our life to know that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Perfect. Holy cow. And, you know, business can be really fun, especially when you're surrounded by like-minded people.
Absolutely. It can be the journey of a lifetime. It truly can. It can be one of the most exhilarating journeys of a lifetime. If you, you know, if you let yourself feel the whole experience, it can have the highs and lows of labor and parenting, with the joys, the heartaches, and everything in between. But if we're not on this earth to feel, then what the hell are we doing? Yeah.
Well, beautifully said.
Thanks, love.
Pleasure having you on today, Naomi, and the girls, Tammy and Janine in the background.
By proxy.
By proxy. Thank you so much. And we'll be putting a link to where people can find you as well, because you're an incredible woman doing.
Thank you. Well. Thanks so much, Janine. It was really nice to be on the show.
Thanks, Naomi.